Hi, this is Gavin Kierstead showing off the first iteration for my Skyrim level. So, start off, this area is going to be mostly untouched. I haven't gone through and ripped it out and done my own stuff for it just yet, so all the stuff that looks really nice, I don't take credit for it. It will be changing in the next iteration as well. However, I did add some blood decals to make it look like she actually was killed, rather than just a dead body just sitting in the middle of nowhere. But I also fixed the fact that her wedding ring was incorrect. So, oops. Then otherwise, though, this area, I'm going to be doing this to pretty much nearly everything once I get it done. But otherwise, I'm going to be putting in next iteration some like enchanting tables, some more soul gems, all strewn about stuff to hit it home that he was a enchanter. When he was a normal person of society. Otherwise, I did touch up this area a bit. This is going to be kind of the storeroom. There's going to be, alchemical reactants and components, soul gems, and various things like that. I don't know, maybe some like spell books and stuff in here, just to kind of. I think about it. Okay, most of these things are empty. Good. Oh no, there's some that are okay. So that's interesting as well. So it can be kind of, I guess, a storeroom is what most of these have, because I just put in barrels, forgetting that they could actually have loot inside of them. So this is going to be a storeroom for kind of him and his wife having their food and whatnot in there as well. So I guess that works out pretty well for narrative. Otherwise, in here, I added in a desk. I haven't put in any books yet, so I don't know if there's anything special that you do, but I plan on putting some books in here. Otherwise, and here, otherwise, this is pretty similar. Just added in the inkwell, kind of some parchment and stuff. Added in, so I changed some lighting and various things like that, but mostly what was changed has been the actual like gameplay of this level, and fixing up some of the started to fix up some of the complaints with playtesting. So I mean, whenever I play Skyrim, I always appreciate the and find the most fun the stealth playthroughs using the bow and whatnot. So I kind of took it into some of that, some consideration, kind of filtering that in to some of the feedback that I got. Which, speaking of which, one of the feedback things that I got was certain areas, specifically this area for sure, were too open, which makes sense. I haven't really filled out a lot of the spaces just yet, but this one I think was definitely ringing true. So I just started on it initially, because when you would come right here, just walk through this doorway, there's a ghost encounter right past that pillar. He would see you instantly, pretty much, and bada bing, bada boom, you're in combat, just right off the bat. Did not like that. So for one, it gives you now a chance to attempt the stealth playthrough that I always like. I put in some things to break up the sight lines by putting some fencing there, so if you can get across this gap, which most people would be able to with just a little bit of skill. I'm level 1, new character. Made a new save file for this for testing purposes, and he sees me when I go across that, but otherwise there's a fencing right there where you can hide behind, and just the fact that there's a large pillar right off the bat kind of makes it so that he not only surprises you, but then you can also surprise him. So, because I know he's there. Otherwise, a new player wouldn't. But I added in some stuff here, so kind of trying to tie in some narrative stuff. So maybe before he locked himself away, he initially was mourning back here, or something to that extent, and he was living off some whatever it's called, mushrooms, kind of growing some, and I'm considering, not sure just yet, if I should have some like goats in here, because he has a lot of goats all over the place. My torch went out. He has a lot of goats all over the place, and I don't know, it wouldn't make too much sense to have goats in the cave, but maybe you could try it. I was considering that. I put in a skylight with dust rays, whatever they're called, ambient dust rays, I think they're called, which I quite like, and kind of gives it a nice atmosphere. This one is not as in your face as the one over there. I like the other one better. So just right off the bat, though, each of these guys are encounters, so they are set spawns. I didn't want to do the leveled spawns, I think they're called. So he'll attack. They're all bandit outlaws. I didn't want to make them anything special. Well, not only the fact, because if you want to do, I think, custom names, you have to make your own NPC and apply your own AI packages. So I just copied out one of the bandit outlaws and applied the ghost script onto it to kind of give them all these ghostly remains. So I prefer to do that versus making them special named. I might still try to do a special named. Not sure yet. Might take too much time. It's not worth it if it does take too much time because it kind of fits narratively. It's just that he just summoned literally anything, and bandits just might have happened to be it. So, if I have extra time, maybe I'll make custom ones called like Key Guardian or something like that. But otherwise, it's fine as it is in my opinion. But the mini narrative I forgot to mention, mostly unchanged except for the blood. Back there was her body. That's unchanged. This one's unchanged as well. Or no, I did add some stuff. I added in some of the hay, so kind of like what he used maybe to lure the goats in, because they'll eat anything. And this is where he sacrificed them, so there's all the blood decals all about. But I saw a post on Twitter from a level designer. I can't remember what company he works for, but he was saying something that I thought was really interesting. How you used objects, just any objects in the room, if there are multiple doorways that you can take, lead them to the doorways that you want them to take, with the objects rotated or leading towards. How did that happen? My hand was off the mouse. I don't know how I attacked. Oh, my trackpad. Lead them their sight lines towards where you want them to go. So I put in some of these hay things. It's not perfect, so I'm still working on. Might do like some kind of like rocky path kind of thing. But I thought it was a really interesting idea, and I tried my attempt at it. I think I might need to do a little better of an attempt. But yeah, there's also braziers and a torch on this one. I course want to put a torch on that one. Guess I forgot. But yeah, I'll be adding in lights, clutter. That's all next iteration. I started doing it a bit here, so this is setting the example of having rock pillars breaking up sight lines, different fences, different things showing lived-in experience. This room needs a little bit more, and all the rooms need a lot more. But yeah, one of my main critiques was the sight lines, so I started doing it in this one, and next up is all the other rooms. But in here is just the first room. Going through, not much has changed, but now we have encounters. This guy, just kill him out, and he is the first guy with a what's it called? He's the first guy with a key on him. So this I need to rename still, but so I might name it like key to underground or key to basement, something like that. But just go in here. This area barred. So that key leads to this doorway over here. This key we don't have the key yet for, so we have to go get it from this door over there. So we can't access this door yet. So it's actually it's linear in the sense that you can't access anything that you're not supposed to access. And this door is locked. I don't have any lockpicks, so I have to unlock it with the console. And in here is the chest. So trying to reward the player for taking extra different pathways, trying to reward them for exploration, stuff like that. There's another chest that will demonstrate that as well. I didn't mean to do that. So just a simple chest, some stuff inside of it. I might make it a nicer chest, so it's a master lock. Maybe they should get a little something better. That's actually not a terrible idea now that I think about it. And there's going to be way more. So like I think this one I might try and make into like an armory or something like that. Maybe like a storeroom. That one back there, I think I'm going to do probably as a kind of a lounge kind of thing. Not the perfect word for it, but whatever. This area, I'm not completely sure yet. Most of these are going to be kind of just like simple fort things. So might do kind of like barracks in this one, with like some chests, preferably empty, with some beds and like dressers and such. But that's all for next generation. Oh, this door I should probably mention. It is barred from the other side, so you can't go that way. You can go one of two ways. This one is fairly difficultly. It's locked with a high difficulty. And this way is this way right here is locked with the key that we got from the previous room. So going this way, and I'm not sure if you did notice, but these guys aggroed. Initially, they backed off, but I'm still trying to work. It didn't happen completely this way every single time. Some players didn't have them aggro, some did, so I'm not completely sure. There's ways to reduce their aggro ranges, and I might try and see if I can manage that. Otherwise, it's been very inconsistent, so I've not completely... I need more playtesting, I think, to completely work out exactly what's going on. The other room doesn't do it. So they're placed a little further away, I think, is why. Their aggro ranges are just further away. I'm killing these guys really easily because I have equipped a Daedric sword with lightning, which is way higher than it should I should have. Oops. Yeah, there's 3 guys. They're kind of meant to guard off this lever, so each one has its own purpose. There's singular guys that are guarding keys, and then 3 guys each guarding each of the levers. One of the other critiques, though, that I got was that they didn't quite understand what the levers did. This one is not perfect still. I wanted to tie up with, I think you have to do it by scripting, a sound, so you can hear off in the distance. Yeah, you can hear anything. Off in the distance, you can hear like I don't know, like a cogs rotating, door opens, something, just like a clunk at the very least, just so you know something happened. And then going this way, which, you know, this way was blocked off initially, this is the only way to open the door. You're like, oh, hey, what do you know? Back here. But hopefully they would notice this brazier is now lit. So one of the critiques was that they didn't know what the levers did completely, and I wanted to kind of, you know, draw their attention to that doorway with the braziers being now lit. So, hey, that wasn't lit before, now it is. I just pulled a lever. Maybe that did something. So yeah, the otherwise they'll go this way. And this was the other critique. I'm not sure if I've addressed it perfectly just yet, because I haven't livened things up yet. But one of them was that this way was too long. It wasn't compact enough. The other direction is much more compact. It has a singular room. Then you get to that like middle area where it has all the connections. This way had like 3 to 4 rooms. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 rooms. Still has 3. This one has a lot more to it though, with just like the fact that you can go down and get that extra loot. But yeah, there's a room right. Yeah, this was the doorway. This was the old doorway right here, and it had a room right here. Served like literally no purpose. Maybe I could have put an extra enemy encounter. It wouldn't really fit narratively, other than just the fact that I guess having more guardians. I don't know, but yeah, I didn't like it, so I removed it. Made it just kind of another kind of little longer pathway, about 3 or 4 hallways worth of extra pathway. But yeah, down here though is the what's it called? Chest. So if they explore down here, they will find a chest. So not bad. That had a lot better loot than the one other chest hidden by the master lock, so I don't know what's up with these chests, if they just vary that much or what, but yeah. And I fixed this area, so now you can actually walk up it without using TCL to toggle the clipping off. To further the increase in the compactness, whatever, I closed off this a little bit, made it so it's not quite so just pure rectangular. I think I might just still see if I can maybe just completely close that off so it's not like another extension off it. But this guy's back here. Finish him off. So this area, I think I might do like a kitchenette kind of thing. Pick up that key. And above, I might keep that one fairly barren and then just close it off there. I'm not completely sure yet. It's going to be a lot of just messing around and getting a little bit extra feedback of what to maybe like put in there, get some extra ideas. But that's all for next generation anyways. So go through here. This area is completely now unlocked. They realize, okay, that door was there. If they didn't get if they came this way first rather than going the other way and get the other key, they could unlock this doorway and not have to get the other key. So that's kind of a plus, depending on what they decide to do. But otherwise, now they have this key. And go through here. We'll meet the 3 guardians on this end. Finish them off. More. Oops. Alright. So those guys are done. And the battles take a lot longer with a not Daedric sword. I just didn't want this to take up like a ton, because when they're like a gigabyte or whatever file at the end, it takes a while to upload. But now, as you can see, that brazier is now lit. Just give a little more real time. It's not lit. It's lit. Not lit. It's lit. So I do that using a script. It's it connects two markers. It was checking two markers and disables the one tracking the light and the lit fire when it's turning it off, and enables the unlit fire when it at that time. And then if it's doing the opposite of that, of turning the fire on, which is usually what's only going to happen, is it turns then on the marker that is connected to the light and the lit fire, and turns off the disabled one. Which I could probably almost leave the disabled one on. It might just, I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm doing it and it works. So, but yeah, it more or less I think would just coincide. It might give Z fighting, so it's probably best I did it the way I did. Yeah, it works surprisingly well. And yeah, the third mini narrative is this one, mostly unchanged. I want to see if I can make a custom book, and fill it out with like a diary entry kind of thing, telling his tale, so that it's not quite so hidden, the storyline behind this. I'll see if that's even viable. I think it is, and I don't think it shouldn't be too bad of just writing out that, and kind of, maybe get some help from my English master, or yeah, my sister, English major, but get some critiques on my creative writing skills. Otherwise, though, I think I want to fill out this area a little more with more indication of him going insane. That's where like the diary would come in. We'll see if that happens. I imagine it will. And then otherwise, in here is the werewolf, him. I like, actually, it's called the Werewolf Savage, which, it kind of hides his name, and I felt it was kind of perfect because he is a werewolf savage. He killed his own wife and stuff like that. He can't control himself when he's a werewolf, which I guess goes a little bit against the companion storyline, how they control themselves. I don't know if they're special though. Maybe they are, but yeah, he has then on him his correctly named wedding ring, which, if the astute can put two and two together, seeing everything, this dude was married to the other lady, and he somehow killed her and closed himself off here inside this cage and everything. Or maybe they might think otherwise, but that's where I would kind of want the diary entry to state it overtly. But otherwise, right here is a boss chest. Boss bow. Yeah, I was reading that off. Is a boss chest, so it has a lot more payoff. I think 500 something gold, though. It's a pretty nice chest. I wanted this one to be the most rewarding for reaching the end of the storyline. This area I closed off with just like a black void and putting in some of those ambient dust rays. But yeah, otherwise, I guess to sum up, the three main narratives are the wife's death in the beginning, the summoning circle in the middle, just down there, and the living quarters of him when he goes insane, with all the writings all over the place and stuff like that. And there's technically, I guess, a couple other mini narratives. It's just those are the three main ones that I want to kind of go across the main narrative. Otherwise, the three critiques that I received during playtesting were areas were too open, sightlines wise and stuff like that, so they felt empty, which for self-explanatory, but I addressed them by doing in the beginning the kind of pillars, columns, I guess, in the cave, and closing off some of those things so they don't see the initial encounter, putting in some fences. That's setting the guidelines that I'm going to be pushing across to the rest of the map. And the levers, they didn't know completely what the levers did, so I tried to address it with using the braziers, drawing their eye to it with light, as well as they see, that wasn't lit before, I just pulled a lever, maybe that was it. If they try to go up to the door, they'll realize that they can't unlock it, so I guess there's another lever. I see another brazier that's unlit, so yeah, that seems to coincide. So kind of, at least maybe they can figure it out. Otherwise, they just go to the end of both of those things and pull the levers if they don't even realize the braziers. So if they know what to do with or without the braziers, I guess that's kind of what I was working towards. And the other critique was the right direction, or yeah, I can't really use first or second. The door on the right was a little too long, still is a little bit, so I need to fix it. I think a little bit more, pulling back, I think, the one room, the third room in, maybe pulling in even the fourth room in, so it's a little smaller as well. Just making it so it's fits a little more better with the other room, which is like, singular room, than that kind of like hub area where they're all connected, and then just kind of going on from there. It needs a lot less to it. I was trying to draw it out a little bit more, having a little more exploration in there. It didn't actually bring much to the table, so went a little bit counterintuitive what I was thinking. But yeah, otherwise that sums it up.